Good evening, my friends. How are you? There we go. Now I can jump over to Instagram. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live with me, Mike Avery. Here in my home office, my home studio. I'm glad to have you along with us. Something I do every Wednesday night. This time of year, it's a little easier to do than the summertime when it's so nice and warm out. Certainly not warm right now, is it? Good evening, Patrick, Brett, Randy. Appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Again, glad to have you along with us. This is something I've been doing for several years now. It's a nice break from the radio show. It's a nice break from podcasting because it gives us a chance to directly interact. Like right now, Jerry, Rex, Jim, checking in from Tennessee, Don, Todd. Oh, let me see what this text is. Okay. Hey, Tim, good evening. Craig, how was work today? Sounds like you had a busy day. Eric, good evening. Robert. Hey, Mike, how are things over at Mike's Tire Sales? Winter's going to be here this weekend for sure. I'll talk more about that. Chris, Michelle, Ed. Hey, Ed, I got your email. I just obviously haven't responded yet. Or was it a text? I haven't responded yet. Tommy, Tony, Uncle Johnny. My wife was saying today she misses Aunt Debbie and Uncle Johnny. But as you know, it's going to be a while before we can get together again. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Art. Hope you're feeling better. Missed you in the studio today. Jeff, Captain Jim, how are you? Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Let me jump over to Instagram. Real Dreams. Peter, all used up. MI Pro. Tony, coming to a Cadillac from Florida next week to fish ice. Will there be good to go? I think you will be. I think you will be. Because next week is going to be absolutely frigid. Hello, Bruce. Thanks for joining me this evening. My name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. Things I want to talk about tonight. A few things on my mind, a few topics of discussion. I want to talk about the rundown for this week's radio show. Want to tell you that tickets for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner are going on sale Monday. Stay tuned. I'll have details on how to get them. Johnny says, long 2 days for a couple inches of snow. Craig says a power glitch took 3 hours to get everything back and running. Jerry, always a pleasure to have you along with us. Stu, same thing from the 45th parallel. Ed says 10 inches of snow there last night. It's wintertime now, and it looks like it's going to be storms this weekend, maybe even a blizzard this weekend, to the point where I'm not even going to go down to the Ultimate Fishing Show in Novi. I was going to go maybe Friday, and then I looked at the weather at Friday. It's like, I'm not driving down there on Friday. But they always have a snowstorm this weekend. We always have a snowstorm this weekend because this is the weekend of the ATA show, and it's the weekend of the Ultimate Fishing Show. And we always get snowstorms on this weekend. Hey, Eric, how you doing, buddy? Art says, save me a Trinity ticket. There you go, Eric. Nice to have you along with us. There is a new ground blind coming out. We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago with Bob Ransom of Primal Outdoors. It's called the Harvester, and it is a little bit bigger than the Wraith. But here are some of the things I like about it. The zipper on the door is not a zipper, it's magnets. Also, the two side windows have built-in blackout curtains. On the Wraith, I would routinely bring a big black sweatshirt or a big black t-shirt with me, and if I had the sun coming in from one side or another, I would put that t-shirt up. This new Harvester has blackout curtains built in. Evening, James. Ricky says, just south of me, looking at getting pounded. Yeah. Hey, Justin, how are you? Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Jerry, man, is it just me or is the ATA show not what it used to be? It's not what it used to be, Jerry. I don't even go down to it anymore. It used to be something I would look forward to. I wouldn't miss the ATA, the Archery Trade Association show. These days, I wouldn't even think about it, not even remotely interested, because I can learn everything that's going on online. Companies are releasing products early these days. Didn't used to be that way. Ryan's still waiting for ice. Hey, Mick, the albino doe is doing well. Nice to hear from you, buddy. Mike also. Johnny. I know who needs one. You're going to need more than one. Jim says he'll be in line to get that blind. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, my friends. I'm going to see if when they come out with this new blind, if I can get the folks at Primal Outdoors to offer an Avery promo code like they've done with the Wraith. See if we can't get some in your hands and save a few bucks doing it. James, good evening. How are you? Let me jump back over to Instagram. Oh, good evening, folks. Appreciate you joining us. Peter, Lokovacic, Alex, Craig. Hopefully we can get Instagram into the fold here where I can also see your comments on Instagram on my main screen without jumping back and forth. Paul's rubbing it in from Florida. He says, frigid 76 degrees down there. I saw Mark Torregrossa on Facebook earlier. He seemed giddy about the storms coming. He is. He's a demented person. He is a demented person. He said this is the type of stuff he looks forward to. The squirrelier the weather, the better. I'm going to tell you more about what Torregrossa said coming up here. Mitchell, good evening. Johnny says, no joke. There's no more than 5 inches of snow on the ground. We're going to have more than that down here. Who was that? Michigan outdoorsman. Headed to Wisconsin next weekend to chase big brown trout through the ice and maybe hit up a lake for walleye and whitefish. Mike Sills, you are a consummate outdoorsman. Jim Ward, good evening, buddy. Scott, how are you tonight? Hey, Lori, nice to... Where'd you go, Lori? There you go. Nice to have you along with us. Scott says, ice, ice, baby. Johnny says, will you have 4 tickets for Trinity? I guess I could call you tomorrow. I don't know, Johnny. 4 tickets. It's going to be a sold-out event. That's a lot of tickets, Johnny. 4 tickets for Johnny Bowler? I don't know. Nathan, good evening. Brian, appreciate you saying that. Oh, Jeff. Jeff said, everyone used to wait for the trade shows to see all the new stuff. Now between the internet and people wanting to get a jump on the competition, there's nothing else to see. Nothing else to see new. Sparty, how you doing this evening? Sparty, let me ask you. Were you one of those people who was rooting against Michigan? I would like to think that everybody in Michigan was rooting for the Wolverines, but I heard some disturbing stories about Ohio State fans, which of course they're going to root against Michigan, and some Spartans rooting against Michigan. That would be disappointing, and I'm sure you were not one of them. John, good evening. Always enjoyed your content. I appreciate that. Lori says they don't have any snow there downstate. Kyle, fishing hard water in the Yup. Finally, ice fishing is in our future. The temps next week are going to drop. Going to drop. Nate says the Christmas weather here now. Brian, good evening. Fingers crossed. Okay. Hey, Captain, how you doing? Captain Mark Pananzek of Real Fishing. Cap, is the open water season done on the bay for a little bit? I talked to Captain Jason Graham at Linwood Beach this morning. He said as of this morning, the launches were still open and the channel to the bay is still open. He said, obviously, with the cold temperatures next week, the marina will lock up. But what about the bay, Cap? Mark, you know Saginaw Bay as well as anybody. Is the open water trolling season done for a few weeks? Cliff, good evening. How are you? I saw that. Was it Saban? I saw just a few minutes ago that somebody retired. Maybe it was Saban. No, was it? No. Saban is retiring, and the former Sparty coach is up for the Hall of Fame. Did I hear about the Kalamazoo Outdoor Sports Expo this weekend? That it's going on. I did know that. It's a terrible weekend to have any kind of an outdoor expo because, man, the weather's going to be a mess. Speaking of a mess, Stu says 6 inches a mess, but hey, it's the second week of January. We've been lucky so far. We have. Class Act Charters, good evening. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Captain Pananzak said he's going to try to get out Sunday. Might try Sunday. Buck McNeely died? I didn't know that, Al. I did not know. I knew he'd been sick for a while. Buck McNeely was like the Upper Peninsula version of Morton F. He was the man for a lot of years. I had a chance to meet him. Nice guy. I saw a guy jumped in the aquarium at Bass Pro Shops. What an idiot. Art says, yes, he did. Rich said, yes, he did. Hesperia checking in. Petoskey's covered with snow. Yeah, we're going to lose a lot of seniors. I don't blame them, though. They stuck around to try to accomplish what they... Ed says they still play his show in Alpena. Okay, let me talk about a few things here. Winter is back with a vengeance, but we can't bitch too much because, I mean, I can't. If you love the winter, if you love snow and ice, you're happy right now. I'm at the point in my world where I could do without it. I understand why we have to have it. I understand why biologically we had it. From a wildlife perspective, we have to have it. From a business perspective, from an economic perspective, we need to have winter. We need to have snow. We need to have ice. A lot of businesses rely on it, and for that reason, I'm very glad that it's here. It doesn't look like it's going to be very long, though. From a purely personal perspective, I'm not much of a wintertime person anymore. That's what I was just getting to, Jeff. Torregrossa, well, I'll talk more about him. But my very next comment, Jeff, you read my mind, was the days are getting longer. Have you noticed it? Gets light a little bit earlier, stays light a little bit longer. We're moving the right direction. I have not done anything outdoors the last week since we talked other than shovel. We've had some sickness here in the family, and I've been working on some projects. So I have not had a chance to get out and do anything outdoors. But when it's like this, I just as soon stay here in the office and get my work done anyway. Now, I will come back to Wolves and Cougars if we have some time tonight. Remind me, Wolves and Cougars, Wolves in particular in the northern lower, and maybe the topic of coy wolves. Ultimate Fishing Show in Detroit is this weekend. If you're Johnny Bowler in the Yoop, you don't care about the Ultimate Fishing Show. As I say, I was going to go down for it. It is an age thing. You're exactly right, Elmer. It's an age thing. I was going to go down for it. I was going to go down Friday. I'm not going to drive down there in a blizzard to see it. Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner tickets go on sale Monday. I will post a QR code Monday. I will post a QR code on the Facebook page, and I'll post it over on Instagram as well. For Wes and Mika and Charlie and Chase, if you are interested over there on Instagram for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, I will post those questions. Ask Avery is about coy wolves. Pure Michigan hunt winners are going to be announced on the 19th, I think. Hey, Brent, how you doing, buddy? Tom says he's going to be at the show tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to make it tomorrow. I got some work to do. Like I said, I was going to go Friday. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Captain Mark Pananzak of Real Fishing says he will donate another walleye fishing trip on the Detroit River. I appreciate that. Mark, that means a lot to me. Also, Johnny Bowler said he will donate a UP bear hunt as well. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Scott? We're going to try to sell as many tickets electronically as we can this year. So again, I will put a bear hunt. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that. I'll tell you right now, John, what the AnglerQuest announcement is. Brad Dupuis is taking over AnglerQuest. The AnglerQuest line is leaving Apex Marine. Brad Dupuis is taking it over. It'll be through a new company. Details on that in just a minute. Dixie Dave will be at the dinner, although he's not cooking the dinner this year. The Great Hall doesn't really want outside people. We were lucky to get Dave in there last year. So what we're going to do, it will pass, Scott. What we're going to do, Art, is Dave is going to come up with a signature Dixie Dave recipe that the folks at the Great Hall are going to cook up. Dave will be there. He will be a guest of honor of ours, and we will serve a Dixie Dave signature dish, but Dave is not cooking the dinner. And I think that's actually a win-win all the way around. All the way around. Okay, so we're leading into some good comments here. So let me get into the rundown for this week's show because it's one of the most exciting rundowns I've had in a long time. John says he'll donate a day of harvest on a farm. No, you bought one of those. Doug says, I log and hear you say you can't bitch too much. Okay, gotta go. About the winter I was talking, Doug. Stu says a weather report for Friday, 8+ statewide storm, cold and lake effect. That's why I'm not going to be driving down to. Let me respond right here on live. That's why I'm not going down. Okay. Oh, Doug, stay here. Doug, are you still here? You're going to want to hear this, Doug. Okay, so the rundown for the show this week. My first guest is Ed Blissick. He is the president of the Great Lakes Salmon Initiative. They are the group that is, all right, Doug, hang tight. They are the group that is pushing for elimination of the 3-rod limit for Great Lakes trolling anglers. This is something I've been talking about for a while. I think it's ridiculous to penalize small boat anglers by only allowing them to run, 3 rods when you got a charter guy coming by them or me on the Angler Quest coming by running 12 rods. Why does that guy get penalized? The resource is protected because we have creel limits, like in Saginaw Bay, it's 8 fish, and size limits. 13 inches. So what does it matter how many rods you run to catch your number of fish and your size of fish? It doesn't. So I've been talking about this for a while. The Great Lakes Salmon Initiative group is teaming up with other sportsmen's groups across the state. They have the tentative buy-in of the DNR. Unfortunately, this has to go to the legislature first, but if we get enough people behind it, this is going to go. And what it is at this forum is you as an individual angler, now you might not like this part, but I'm willing to do this. You as an individual angler will be able to buy an additional license, an additional 3-rod license, probably $26, which will allow you, instead of running 3 rods, to run 6 rods. I'll jump all over that. I will jump all over that. Then Mark Torregrossa, Michigan's meteorologist. I didn't know, Justin, that you knew Doug. Michigan's meteorologist joins me to talk about the weather forecast. In short, blizzards this weekend. Hey, Steve. Where'd you go? Hey, Steve. Blizzard this weekend. The temperatures next week are going to drop out of sight. It's going to be winter until the 20th or so, and then it's going to break up, and then it's going to be... So it's see, Todd, you're so far off base here, and I find it interesting when people bash the DNR with no reason to do it. Is the DNR perfect? Absolutely not. Are they a bunch of screw-ups like people say? Some of them are, but I don't think as a whole. So here we go. You're saying, Todd, that it's a DNR moneymaker, and this did not come from the DNR. This came from fishermen's groups who want to be able to run more rods. And the way around this, to get through all the political BS, is to throw a token $26 fee out there where an individual fisherman can make the determination if he wants to spend that or not. And it's not going to go to the DNR general fund. It's going to go for Great Lakes fisheries related projects. But I love the way, I hate the DNR. DNR moneymaker. No, it's not. It's not. It's a way for us as Great Lakes anglers to run more rods and put more money back into the resource. And to ease people's fears, This would not apply to inland lakes. It would not apply to rivers. It would not apply to pier fishermen. It would not apply to ice fishermen. Don't know the answer to that yet, Doug. It's still very early. But I am more than willing to pay the $26. Okay, to our guests. Okay, hour number 2. Doug Ward, hour number 2. Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis joins me on the show to make an announcement that has been in the works for a long time. I have known about this for a long time, but haven't been able to say anything. Brad Dupuis, Mr. Angler Quest, has left Apex Marine. He is forming his own company. He has acquired the rights to Angler Quest boats, and he is going to make Angler Quest under his own company. I'll get to it, Art. It will no longer be Angler Quest, Qwest. It will be Angler Quest, Quest. I think this is the best of both worlds because it is obvious that we're tying into the old Angler Quest, but it differentiates the old company from the new company. I think this is wonderful. Apex was going a different direction. Apex got some new leadership in, and I think me from the outside, and not my company, so what does it matter to me? But looking at it from the outside as an Angler Quest owner, I think that the company was going in the wrong direction, and they were getting away from the hardcore Angler Quest, and they were going into a recreational fishing boat. Brad didn't like it either. So he said, you know what? I'll get the name, and I will make those boats. Tim, to answer your question, for right now, Brad told me that they will likely manufacture in the old abandoned Gilgetter plant, which is adjacent to the Apex plant in St. Louis. Brad will still work closely with Apex. I think this is so exciting. I agree with you, Tom. He says, so many walleye in the bay, not sure you can handle more than 4 rods. Exactly. This will be a self-limiting Angler Quest. It looks like, John, that Brad will produce Angler Quest out of the Gilgetter facilities. For now, at least. For now. I think this is a big deal. And it's Michigan-based. Family-owned. It is exciting. It's very exciting. So it's going to be cool. Let me jump over to Instagram. Say hi to the folks over there. Mike, good evening. True North Guide Fishing. Can Brad make me a U to replace my W? I don't know, Jason. Aren't you happy with your W? I'm pretty happy with my W. But so the 2 models will be, for now, the Pro Troll, this big, beautiful Pro Troll with the radar arch, except for Doug Ward's radar arch that he took off. Yes, he'll still work very closely with Apex, but it'll have Brad Dupuis all over it. It'll go back to the roots of a hardcore fishing rig. Brad is going to address some of the problems that have faced Angler Quest, like tubes. I'm so excited. So excited. Pro Troll and Family Fish will be the first 2 models. Brad expects to have 2025 models on the water this summer. But there probably will not be production boats until the 25 year, which could be the fall of 24. That's right. AQ going back to fishing machines. Anyway, I couldn't be more excited. It's still big and beautiful. It's just on the shelf in the pole barn. Then, Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters was supposed to join me to talk about our Ohio hunt this year. Bill has pneumonia. and he wasn't able to join me. But let me just say that our Ohio hunt this year is going to be October 21st to the 25th. We've moved it back a week. It's closer to the rut. It's just before the rut. The price is still $2,500, which is a pretty darn good price for a 5-day hunt, lodging and meals included. We're going to go down there. Love to have you join us. Again, the dates are October 21st to the 25th. If you want to get involved, send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. I will send you the right direction. Or you can just reach out to Bill Piles on Facebook at the Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters or the website of ohiobowhuntingoutfitters.com. Because Bill was sick, I had Lance Valentine jump in at the last minute and save my butt. Then at the end of the second hour of this week's Ask Avery question or segment, I will come back to that. In hour number 3, Tom Lounsbury talks about rabbit hunting, wintertime squirrel hunting, property management. He took his family farm and he turned it into a wildlife sanctuary. And then, of course, wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Craig, is Brad going to handle warranty issues for AQ? No, the warranty issues are not going to come with the new company. I asked him that question specifically. Doug, you're stealing my thunder here, man. This is my show. But you're right. Hey, Jeff. Joe Marion. He's busting Joe Marion's chops. You did, Ed. I know Ed's in. Okay. Cougars, wolves. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. I find it interesting that a lot of people, not a lot of, that a significant percentage of people in the northern lower are convinced that they have wolves living in the woods behind the house. I don't believe that to be the case. I get an awful lot of people who send me trail cam pictures of coyotes and say, look at this, it's a wolf. And they're in Clare County or Gladwin County or Ogemaw County or name your county, Sheboygan, name your county, somewhere south of the bridge. Look at this wolf I caught on my trail camera. And it's obvious it's not. It's a big coyote. People, for some reason, want to think we have a real good population of wolves in the northern lower. I don't believe we do. I do think there are probably a few, a limited number, but not to the extent that people say. Johnny, a good point. Johnny lives in wolf country. Johnny says, I don't believe there's any because they'd know the difference. If we had packs of wolves roaming the northern lower, like so many people online want to say, you'd know it. You would know it. Your deer would be decimated. All your small game would be decimated. Your cattle would be decimated. I mean, if you had a pack of wolves in your county, you would know it. There would be no doubt. No doubt. And once you see a wolf, you go, okay, I get it. You know, wolf, coyote. Oh, I wish I had my 2 mounts set up. I got a wolf sitting right there that I shot in Ontario, and I got a coyote sitting over there that I shot in Kansas. Next week, maybe I'll set them up, and you'd hear them every night. So I don't believe that there's a huge population of wolves in the lower. So then people go to the next step, which really scares me. Let me jump over to Instagram, say hi to folks. Jeremy, good evening. How are you? SpeedyGo55, thanks for joining me. Pirate looks over. Thanks for joining me over on Instagram. If you're new, my name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. So then people say, well, if it's not a wolf, it's too big for a coyote. It must be a coy wolf. Oh, God help me. I will say that very recently, like this week, I have seen some scientific documentation which does have me maybe not second guessing what I thought to be true, but at least taking another look at what I thought to be true. Let's look at the concept of coy wolves. if it's a coyote and a wolf, does that mean that a wolf and a coyote bred to create a coy wolf? If that's the case, there are not enough wolves in the lower peninsula to go around interbreeding with coyotes to create a coy wolf. I don't buy into that. I no. If a coy wolf means that a coyote has some residual wolf DNA, is that a possibility? Of course. Of course. But I get real nervous when people start talking about coy wolves and start throwing that around like it's a proven fact and saying we have all these coy wolves in Michigan. I'm just saying be very, very careful how you use that term and how you push it, especially online. And here's why. You know that we can't have a wolf hunt in Michigan's UP, not because the DNR doesn't want to, all you DNR haters. It's because the antis don't want us to. And every time a potential wolf hunt gets cleared, or it looks like we're going to move that direction, the antis come out from underneath their rocks and they open their checkbooks because they have more money than God, and they throw it at the anti-wolf hunting issue. The antis do not want us hunting wolves, even though it's very clear to me, and I think everybody, that we desperately need a wolf hunt in the UP to manage that population. Let's take it to the next logical step. If the concept of a coy wolf is embraced by everybody, the antis can look at this and go, oh, you're telling me all those coyotes that are running around all of Michigan, even southern Michigan, every county in the state, the ones you hear yipping at nighttime, the ones you see crossing the road in farm country and in suburbs and in the cities and in the fields, you're telling me those coyotes have some wolf DNA in them? Then guess what? We, as anti-hunters, are not going to allow you hunters to have coyote hunts. Can we chill out on the coy wolf conversation? Wolves in the northern lower. Yes, there was a confirmed single or maybe a pair. The tribal biologist found one a few years ago. The wolves that were supposed to be found in that den in Sheboygan County, DNA tests later came up that they were coyotes, according to the DNR. There are a lot of things going on behind the scenes as far as wolves. Like if it was established, or if it was proven that there is an established wolf population in the lower, then you'd have to have a wolf management plan for the lower, and it would change everything. Doug says, gotta say, I saw a wolf near Gaylord 10 years ago. No doubt in my mind, eating a carcass along the highway. A photographer was taking pictures of it 30 yards off the road. Long body, long gray. Not a coyote at all. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? And listen, I said that there's could be some. Not to the extent that people say. Let me go back to my wolf story. Wolves are one of those things, not you, Doug, but wolves are one of the things that tends to bring out the crazy in people. I have heard to my face, from two different people. Now, they were together, standing side by side. And this story was told me, I don't remember what was told to me. This story was told to me that they claimed they were on a lake in the northern lower peninsula in the wintertime. The DNR, not the DNR yet. Yeah, DNR game wardens came in. They kicked everybody off the lake. They cleared out the parking lots, and they kicked everybody out of the area. Then, and this is the God's truth of what I was told, then black helicopters came in, hovered over the lake, sat down on the ice. They opened the side doors to the black helicopters. They opened the crates, the cages that were in the helicopters, and out came the wolves. Tinfoil much? Tinfoil hat much? Hey, Jason, good evening. How are you? So, I we need a wolf hunt in the UP. If for nothing more than to instill some fear in, hey Shannon, the UP wolves. If you hunt wolves, if you hunt wolves in Ontario, they have a fear of man because they've been hunted. The UP wolves have not been legally hunted enough to give them a fear of man. That's why I think they tend to be more aggressive and more dangerous. Did I see this story of the service dog that a coyote hunter shot in Cadillac? I did not. DNR will say they did not introduce him. They will say that they introduced a handful of animals, what was it, back in the 80s, and the locals killed them off. They say that the wolves are in the UP now or migrated in from Wisconsin and Minnesota. And I believe it. Laughing so hard before you even finish the story. Honest to God, Thomas, that's what I was told. Eric says somebody told him they saw the DNR with a truck and trailer in the UP letting go cougars. Isn't it something? Isn't it something how these stories come about? Let me go back to Art Lewis's question about Wayne LaPierre, and this was brought up this morning on Behind the Mic as well. Wayne LaPierre, the longtime president of the NRA, who has stepped down. Did he step down or get fired? I don't know. Yes, lost glove. Okay. And asking for my reaction. All right, Chris, get back to work. Thanks for joining me. I have no reaction. I don't. I had given up my affiliation with the NRA years ago. Not that I don't support them in theory, in principle, but I don't support them financially anymore. I quit giving money to the NRA about 7 or 8 years ago when I bought my NRA membership. My daughter, who was then, got to be 10 years ago, who was then at U of M, and I thought, how cool is this to give an NRA membership to my daughter, who was a student at the University of Michigan, one of the most liberal schools you'll find. So I got myself a membership, I got my daughter a membership, and then I made an additional contribution of and beyond to the NRA to support the cause. And then they kept hammering me for more money, and they would not let up. Letters, texts, phone calls, incessant phone calls. And I said, look, don't bug me like this. I cannot support a company, an entity, an organization that doesn't respect my privacy and respect the fact that I've already given you a few $100s. If you wanted a few $100s in the first place, that's what you should have asked for. Don't ask me for whatever the number was, or whatever the numbers are. I gave above and beyond. So Paul Phillips, one of the best extreme long range shooters in the world, makes this comment. He said the NRA needed a new leader. So I tell you what, I would defer to Paulie's expertise on this. Had one here in Grayling, traveled to Frederick to Camp Great to Jones Lake. Had one blue eye, one yellow eye. People put carcasses out, got photos of it. Saw it several times yourself. Okay. I'm not doubting the comments of those of you who say you've seen wolves in the lower, because those of you who I know personally, Doug Ward, I have much respect for. I don't back down from my statement that I firmly believe, and I am convinced, the vast majority of wolf sightings in the northern lower peninsula are not wolves. They're coyotes. Hey, Dennis, how are you? Tom, off topic. In the northern lower last weekend, check crooked pickerel, Burt, mullet, black legs, no ice yet anywhere. That's going to change, I think. That's going to change. Tim says, beyond the money thing, you just don't hear about NRA fighting as hard as the other groups. Well, I am, Craig. I don't know about everybody, but I am. Scott says he saw Bigfoot, too. Hey, Craig, is this your year to go back to Ohio? Oh, Craig, thanks for reminding me, even though you didn't. I reminded myself. Craig Plowman, we may have talked about this before, also said his buddy is going to offer up another African safari, too, for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. I should be writing these down, because they're going to come to me and ask. African safari, UP bear hunt, Detroit River walleye trip. Was there anything else mentioned? Oh, I know Matt Schalk will give up a coyote. Africa safari is a go. Okay. Craig, I don't know you personally, and I'm not doubting you or disparaging you. I will stand by the fact that I don't think most people, until you actually see a wolf, can tell the difference between a wolf and a big coyote. That Bigfoot is actually over in Cummins, not in West Branch. I know, single digit temps. Hey, Dave, did you sneak in here? I didn't even see you. Paul says NRA does a lot. They just need new direction and motivation. The last regime got lazy. Oh, Doug says, I'll give you a trip to the Trinity cause. Let's talk later. That's wonderful, Doug. Saginaw Bay Walleye trip. I'm going to donate a trip or two as well. Although I tell you what, I will tell you, I am cutting back on what I donate for charity trips this summer. I way overcommitted last year. Way overcommitted. Jumping over to Instagram, Spray K, Dave Bowl, Wild Morels, True North, Jason. Jason, you see that picture? You see I posted a picture of your daughter Mia? Johnny, who lives in the middle of wolf country, says, all I'm saying is if you had wolves in the lower, they would kill everything. I'm agreeing with you. John says he'll be working the trout pond at the Novi Fishing Show. Have fun. I was going to go, but now when I see the weather forecast, it's like, I'm not going. I guess I'm just getting to be a wimp in my old age, you know? Oh, well. Uh-oh, what do I hear? What does that mean? It means it's time to wrap up this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Thanks for joining me over on Instagram. Pleasure to be able to go live on Instagram now simultaneously with my other social media outlets. My name is Mike Avery, the website MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I am going to run... Where did we go? I am going to run my existing Angler Quest for this summer, or most of this summer. Somebody said, do coyotes howl like wolves? Nope. If you hear a wolf howl, you'll know it. All right, my friends, tickets for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner go on sale Tuesday. I will post the QR code. Thank you to those who have donated trips or are going to donate trips. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that. All right, my friends, where am I looking for? I'm looking for my music. There it is. Talk to you next time on Wednesday Night Live. Have a good